Welcome to Tales to be Told in the Dark. I've forgotten what number I've even got up to. It's either number 12 or number 13, if I remember rightly. The numbers matter not in this case. I thought we'd have a look at what is reflected in this world. I may have mentioned this on a previous one of these, so my apologies, but it's always worth hearing again, I feel. If we go with the biblical story, Jesus speaks in parables. So when we come together, and we have to use what we've got, so we compare, so they become comparables. This idea sort of came into my mind when you look at an atlas. The two predominant colours are blue for the oceans and green for the land. And then I compared that with the colours of the 7 chakras. And of course the communication, the throat chakra, is blue, which makes sense because water is a conduit. It's what gives life to everything. And if you think about it, what we communicate can give life to anything, good or bad. It could be a harsh word, it could be a joyous word, it could be something said offhand, it could be something that another takes the wrong way, and it all gives life to something. Obviously there's a reciprocal part of that as well. So if you were to say something that the other person took offence to, for example, it's created a life to a feeling in that other person. Because we're all responsible for our own feelings. Yes, we need to be mindful of how we communicate and what we communicate. Hopefully it will come from the heart, and it will avoid making or saying things that others may offensive. There is nothing in my mind that I'm actually referring to here. It's just, I'm basically channeling here. Anyway, back to the atlas. So the other colour that is most predominant is the green, the land. Well, home is where the heart is in the chakra system. The heart chakra is green. So in a way you could say that the atlas, your world view, is really, it's just a little gentle reminder to be living in the heart, coming from the heart. But it would seem, when it actually plays out on the world stage in the physicality, it looks, what's being presented, that is not always the case. Probably a little bit too much in the negative and not enough in the positive. It needs to be brought into balance. Maybe that is the tilt of the earth that is really being expressed at a deeper meaning than the superficial and the seance science. It's only when we compare things, like I've just done, take the view of the world view, and then internalize that with a comparison to the colours of the chakra system. And it's quite interesting what comes out. Then of course, depending on what sort of map you're looking at, you may have what you could say roughly is a double A4 spread. So you'd have the Americas on the left-hand page and the rest of the world on the right-hand page, and generally right at the bottom. Google incidentally used to do this, but they've changed it. If you look on Google Earth and zoom out, it doesn't show it as flat anymore. It's like a 2-page spread. But you've got this, you used to have this massive expanse of white, which interestingly is at the bottom rather than at the top. And I say that interestingly because is that not the colour of the crown chakra? So is that not reflecting that the external is sort of upside down or inverse or reversed? Another example of that would be a reflection opposed to where we compare to the shadow. Now, whereas the reflection is true on its vertical axis, it is not true on its linear axis. When you look in the mirror, if you go left, it goes right. But what about the shadow? Firstly, the shadow length or shape is going to be determined by your relative position to a light source. And effectively, if the light is above, like the sunlight, the connecting point is with the souls. And depending on your position, you may have a very short shadow or a very long, you may cast a very long shadow. Now when you go left, your shadow goes left. But when you turn and face the light, you no longer cast a shadow. The equivalent with the mirror is when you don't look in the mirror, and you look away from the mirror. It might as well not be there. It comes down to where the attention goes, the energy flows. So you have to wonder why there are so many stories continuously being put about across all forms of social media. And not just social media, all the gossip, all the hearsay. Hearsay is heresy, effectively. It's so easy to repeat stories or get part of a story and then fill in the gaps with rationalization and, well, it must be this because this has happened, so what I think happened is, and then the next thing, oh, have you heard what's happened? It's almost like music. It's a theme and variations, many, many variations. But what about the original theme? A lot of these things that are put out there seem more to just harvest or impress a negative feeling, one of hopelessness, one of doom and gloom. But hope, that really comes after love. Love and hope, they sort of go hand in hand. You can hope for a better future for everybody. You can hope for a better world. It's a positive thing. Of course, you can have wish as well, but that can have both positive or negative. But the golden rule, I feel, is if you're wishing, then make sure it's something benevolent, not something that's negative or wishing ill will upon another, for example, because that will come back and it's not a good thing. But as the voice said to me on Saturday, I think it was Saturday evening, every time you hurt yourself, you hurt another. Or, every time you hurt yourself, you hurt me as well. And that's like a very timely reminder. Always good to get these things. Saturday was a very interesting day for spiritual downloads. It was quite amazing how the speed that the downloads were coming through on Saturday was having an effect on the upload of a video. A 15-minute video actually took 15 hours to upload. But I thought, we're not going to get frustrated or angry or negative. It is what it is. And it's like, the beauty is in the timing. Maybe this video will only upload after something happens. Sure enough, first appearance of the new moon, and I thought, how beautiful is that? It's almost like the new moon is like a marker for an end of a chapter and the start of a new chapter. But we can concoct all the possibilities of what if this, what if that. But to me, that's beautiful to actually get a sort of universe confirmation. Well, that's how I interpret it anyway. Don't have to agree with that. Go with what feels right to you is the answer. That's the best advice I'd say. Go with your gut feeling. That is the place of the sun. I was listening to I think it's episode 7. I was listening back to that and I thought, wow, I'd actually stopped short, lost my train of thought. So just to fill in the bit that I actually missed, the letter, no, not the letter, sorry. Those of a certain generation will probably have the echoes of parents saying, don't sit too close to the screen, it'll make your eyes go square. And of course, if you're getting a lag in the internet connection, what do you get but a circle on basically a square screen? And I can't help but think of the squaring the circle out of this one. But let's go with a little mind exercise, because it's always good to do a bit of exercise. The mind, after all, is a muscle. So why not exercise it? So imagine, if you will, a circle. You've got your center point of that circle. Now I'd like you to draw a square so the corners touch the circle. Now do diagonal lines across corner to corner of that square. And you'll see you've got 4 triangles. You've also got 4 corners in the middle, if you think about it. Now if you take another, let's add a plus this time. So take the midpoint at the top of the square and do a straight line through the middle to the bottom. So you're basically doing a north to south, and then do a linear east to west. Does that not look like what the Great Pyramid of Giza looks like from above? You've also got many other things being expressed in that shape. Probably too many to even go through without making a video of that all on its own. But it's said that the world is ruled by signs and symbols, but it's worth looking at these things. And don't actually try and problem solve them, just familiarise yourself with them, and then just let them sit in the mind, and I'm sure the subconscious will just throw something across as and when you need it. Something will just click. Because the subconscious does actually record everything. This is why it says, I think in the Bible, I can't remember the verse, it says, take no thought. Jesus said, take no thought. Because you don't need to take thoughts. It's hoarding in a mental kind of way. But equally, it's not about blanking everything out, and it's impossible to do anyway. Just try and still the mind and meditate, and you'll find it doesn't happen. The conscious mind will always be trying to chatter away. I catch it in the mornings when I wake up and get up or before I get up out of bed, and it starts chattering away, and then I catch myself. It's like, just breathe, come back. It's like, whoa, you don't have to be so busy straight away. We've got all the time in the world. and just letting this meander as it comes. There is no written script, there is no theme. I'm just sharing as I go, but we're up to 15 minutes. I feel that's enough in one video. It's said that human attention spans are short, and even 15 minutes is actually starting to try and stretch it out again. But just consider, has your mind gone off either by thought association, something that's been said previously in this video? Has your mind started creating a picture and it's took you off on a tangent? Only you know the answer to that one. But again, the mind is a muscle, so why not exercise it? Do a little bit of thought processing, and also non-thought processing, shall we say. Just allow the subconscious to throw things over to the conscious side. The more you do that, the easier it's going to become anyway. It's that divine union within oneself, communicating within oneself. Oh, we've nearly carried on. I'll save this over and maybe to another video, maybe the next one, I don't know. We're just going to go with as the thoughts come and just share them in the moment. And maybe it just reveals something about me. After all, it's an echo, because I'm basically, this is like a recorded journal for myself, and I'm just sharing it publicly. And I just hope that there's something in it that will spark something, will help you, maybe inspire you, uplift you, as Lana A LaBonte says. And just a little bit of free advertising here. If you don't know about Lana's channel, I'd say you're doing yourself a disservice. Just a personal opinion, but you're going to get an authentic talk coming from experience that I feel will be of a great benefit to at least one of you out there, if not, well, hopefully a lot more than one. And I hope this has helped in some way as well. So I'm going to say love to you all, because we're now coming up to 18 minutes. So much for stopping at 15 minutes. But just the way it goes. Love to you all.